Hi, I'm Tim Robinson, and I'm with Full Strategies, and today we're going to be talking about how to live a full and balanced life. Imagine, if you will, you died today. If you died today, wouldn't you probably have a lot of things you still wanted to do? When you look at a tombstone, there's a number of elements on the tombstone that I want you to consider. You have your full name, the day you were born, the day you died, and there's a dash in between. And there's a poem out there that talks about the quality of life within the dash, that it's not what we own or the cars or the house or the cash, but it's what matters most is how we live and spend our dash. So I want you to consider not the length of your life, but the quality of your life in the years. When you look at the rest of the tombstone, you have military service that might be mentioned. You may have a profession, and usually the professions that are mentioned are around being a service-related profession, like a doctor or a teacher or a priest. And then we have some sort of generational love, so mother, sister, wife, or daughter. And then there's an epitaph. So at the bottom of the tombstone, what would your epitaph be? Would it say something like hard worker? Would it be that you died rich? Maybe you discovered there was life before death? Or my personal favorite, I told you I was sick, which is an actual tombstone down in Key West. So when you look at the fundamental life structure, you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we all need food, water, clothing, and shelter. But then as we get that established, and we can move up into more of the aesthetics of life, getting more of the quality of your life going. But in that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what you have to understand that there's pyramids for each part of your life. So you have a pyramid for your childhood to adulthood. You have a pyramid for your education. You have a pyramid for your professional life, a pyramid for your personal life. You have a pyramid for your fitness, a pyramid for your recreational or hobbies, and then one also for your spiritual. So we have a lot of pyramids going on. So let me give you an example of a pyramid I'm talking about. Let's say you have a professional pyramid. So in that professional pyramid, you have an ascension. So you're climbing the corporate ladder. You have went to college for it. You got your entry-level job. And then within your job, you're starting to have on-the-job training. And then maybe you'll get some advanced degrees. So now the company's letting you go back to school and get a master's degree or an MBA. And then you start to get promotions. And then within the job, you start to have specialized training. You might get a PMP certification or a Six Sigma certification. That gives you more specialty, so you get more advancement and more titles, and that cycles through for a number of decades, and you have a career. And then what's after the career? Maybe early retirement, maybe full retirement, but then what's after that? It's maybe if you volunteered, maybe do some teaching, maybe some mentoring, but you're really climbing that corporate ladder towards the peak, which is a finite view. So what's at the top of the pyramid? Well, it's death. So, are you working yourself to death? Is that really the structure that we want in our life? Well, the other part about climbing the corporate ladder and just living your life is that there's going to be periods of boredom and mundaneness. And so you want to be able to recognize that we have those qualities of living that we have to deal with, that we're going to get bored at times, and we're going to have to find ways to manage that. But in the end, that's just all part of living. So when you look at the traditional framework for living, we think of it as a number of pyramids in your life. So you have your personal life, you have your educational pyramid, you have your professional pyramid, you have varied interest pyramids, and there's only so many hours in the day that you're going to have to be able to deal with those. But they're happening in kind of a linear, sequential fashion. So there's how much time can you dedicate to each one of these pyramids? It really depends on what your priorities are and where you are in life. But when you think about how busy or how full your life is, usually people say, well, if I've got 3 or 4 pyramids, then that's a pretty full life. So what I want to say now is my life, and the reason I'm here is because I stopped counting at 20 pyramids, but that's not the answer of living a full life. It's kind of a representation of really going after a lot of different activities, but it's not the answer that we're looking for. When you look at having a full life, you have to do a balanced piece of it. And when you look at the balanced life, you have to think about the fact that you've got all these pyramids going on. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're also burning the midnight oil. You probably have some issues with your diet based on the American fast food industry. You've got some financial issues probably mounting, and you've got some personal challenges that are going on. All of that's contributing to stress. And in order to balance your life, you're going to have to reduce the stress and increase your wellness and health overall. So how can you do that and still be able to keep all of these pyramids in play? Well, let's look at what happens when your health starts to fail. So if you're not really focused on that pyramid of health and it fails, well, guess what? The entire structure, the entire framework of your life fails. So when I was going through my own personal journey, I was always thinking that that pyramid of health was something I really needed to put as a priority. And I'm glad I did. I was able to do a lot of different activities. But I have a different way of thinking now, and that's why I'm talking to you today about how you should consider that fitness. So here's the new model. So we have the traditional framework, and now we have the awakened framework is what I'm calling it, which is that the fundamental part of your life is that fitness pyramid, except now it's just going to be the base of your life. You're going to operate from that point of view. So when I say fitness, I'm not talking about just physical fitness. I'm talking about mental fitness and spiritual fitness. So once you have those at the base, you're going to be able to grow all of your pyramids from there. But again, these pyramids are no longer going to be pyramids and finite. They're going to be a different shape. So when you think about going into body, mind, and spirit fitness, there's just a lot of different things that you have to consider. You'll see on the slide behind me, there's so many images out there. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I probably got a couple books worth of stuff on the page there. But I want you to be aware that this is a lifelong pursuit of body, mind, and spirit. So I want you to consider that as you move through the growth of your body, mind, and spirit foundation. Get past body and mind, moving into spirit. The main thing I want you to think about there is the fact that you're, by design, an egocentric point of view. You know, it's a selfish pursuit of goals and achievements and accomplishments and things of that nature, and you will have that at some point in time. But then you're going to move beyond it. So I have a bullseye in the center there that shows that in the beginning we're going to be egocentric in the way we approach our life, and then if we're able to kind of move away from ourselves and we get into more of the sociocentric, so we're helping our neighbors, we're helping our communities, we're doing things together. If we go to the global centric view, the world centric view, which is the we, then we have more of the carbon footprint and poverty and hunger and things that we want to try to care for as a globe. And if you move beyond that, you get into the spiritual world. So an easy way to remember this is going from me to us to we to one. So if you can keep that in mind, moving outside yourself and into more of a helping others and not having the indifference that we see in society today or the apathy in society today, if we can get to more of that caring, loving, unified way, then we're going to have more of the spiritual growth in our life. So ultimately, in the transcendental approach, and don't let that word scare you, it just basically means you're trying to get to a transformational growth or a self-actualization point of view, which means you're fulfilling your potential and becoming all that you can be. So if you get to that point, you'll start to see all of these patterns and aspects of your life start to come together and integrate and become more holistic. And when that happens, you're going to start to see that your spiritual life is going to be improved. You're going to see all the connect points going on. You're going to see the synchronicities happening where you may think like, wow, that was a coincidental thing that happened, that these things came together. But actually, that's just all part of spiritual growth. So in the end, what we're looking at is we're going from that finite pyramid point of view to more of that hourglass. We're opening up now. We're getting more into the spiritual growth pattern, and we're contributing more to our body, mind, and spirit overall. And when you move into that position, then you're going to see all these endless possibilities before you. So you'll start to have more opportunity. And the main thing about moving through this life and having all of these activities that you want to care for is that you have to reflect in the midst of action. We're a society of do. We're looking at people based on their usefulness. But I'm also telling you that you should also take the exact amount of time that you're spending there and reflect and just be. So there's a quote out there that says, "To do is to be" by Socrates. And then there's another one that says, "To be is to do" by Kant. And then there's another one that says, "To do be do" by Sinatra. But honestly, to do be do is kind of your reminder to yourself that while you're doing all these things, you should also be enjoying the journey, enjoying just smelling the roses and taking stock of all the accomplishments that you're getting en route to whatever goals that you have. Have those dreams, have those goals, but keep moving towards them in such a way that you appreciate the journey, not the destination, and that's going to make all the difference in the world. So in the end, what's my challenge to you? Well, it takes 21 days to make a habit. So go ahead and, starting today, look over what I've presented. There's a lot of information in there, and apply some of those things to your life. You have to inspect what you expect. And then once you start to do that, contact me 22 days later and let me know what you think. If it worked for you, spread the word. If it didn't work for you, let me know why, and then I will commit to you that I will help with my own personal consulting, life coaching, or personal training to help you through whatever challenges you face, because I fully believe that by applying this new awakened state of living, you're going to be able to manifest the change that you want in your life. I'm Tim Robinson, and we'll see you next time.